Yes, my name is Renee Basie. I'm the Provincial Director of Adoptions for the Province of British Columbia. I work for the Ministry of Children and Family Development. The purpose of the Post-Adoption Assistance Program is to support families who adopt children who are in foster care who have extraordinary needs, support needs. So it's really to help families be able to provide for medical expenses, for food, for clothing, for their child's recreational needs, to ensure that a child who was in foster care is able to, that they are able to have their needs met, and that the family is able to provide, maintain those expenses. The Post-Adoption Assistance Program has two specific components. The first component is maintenance, which a family will receive maintenance. And again, that's to support a child's recreational needs if they take, let's say, judo, or if they're in a swim club, or if they're in photography or lacrosse, or whatever recreational need they have, and as well as to help with clothing and food and vacations. That's one type of funding, and it's to help the family's expenses as well. And the other funding is to provide specifically for the child's support needs, as well as if a parent needs to take a specialized program, whether it's about understanding autism, understanding neurodiversity, understanding a child who perhaps is exploring their sexuality, and it's to support the family in their education as well. We provide funding for that as well. As a child ages and matures and grows, their needs often change. So you can be reassessed for funding for support needs. Maintenance changes in accordance to the provincial budget. Both programs are a part of the adoption regulation, and as well as the whole program and the policy with regards to the program is up on the government website for any citizen in British Columbia or any adoptive parent who's interested in understanding how the program works. The information is available to them. To begin, you have to have adopted a child through the Ministry for Children and Family Development who has been in foster care. After you have gone through and been approved as an adoptive parent through the adoption education process, and there has been a matching meeting between your guardianship and adoption social worker, and it's been determined that you're eligible and suitable to adopt a child in care, and you have signed, and there has been a process where you've gotten information about the child's social and medical history and their needs, and you've agreed to adopt that particular child by signing a letter of acknowledgement, and we have gone through and started the placement process, and you've signed a letter of notice of placement, and you have been determined to be eligible by completing an application, by providing your documentation with regards to your income and your assets, and of your notice assessment from Revenue Canada, and your adoption social worker has gone through the eligibility criteria and process for you. Then we would look at what type of services you require, whether you're eligible for maintenance, and you become eligible for maintenance when you adopt a child if you're a foster parent, if you adopt a child that's in your care, if you adopt a sibling group, if you are a relative or someone who has a significant emotional tie to the child. So those are some of the criteria specifically around maintenance. The other criteria for support needs are much broader. It's based on the adoptive family, so the adoptive parent's income and their assets. So the asset limit is $300,000 gross assets. Now, when we're speaking about assets, of course, for most people, their family home is their probably primary asset. Your family home is excluded. So the home you live in, it's not considered, because you're living in the home, it's not calculated in the $300,000. If you own a business and your business is your family's primary income, such as a farm, that's not included. The land might be, of course, far more valuable than your $300,000, but because you're deriving your family income from it, that's excluded. However, if you have stocks and bonds, that would be looked at as your assets, unless they're in an RRSP. So the best thing to do is to talk to your adoption social worker, to review the policy that's up on the government website, and to ensure that you are fully aware and that you're fully informed about what are considered assets. And of course, your income is your income that is derived from your job. If you're a foster parent who is eligible to apply, your fostering income is not included if the income is solely from fostering. If one of the parents work outside of the home and has a job with Stats Canada or TELUS, then that income would be included. There's a sliding scale for maintenance. So again, maintenance is based on your number of dependents and your income. So yes, so there is specifically a sliding scale for maintenance. And all of the maintenance rates are, because again, this program is regulated, it's regulated, it's in the adoption regulations. The sliding scale, the number of dependents, the different rates that you receive for maintenance is all there. PA agreements are usually done for 2 years. So that every 2 years, up until the child turns 19, you would again go through the eligibility process. So you would bring in all the documentation around your assets, your incomes, to your social worker, and you'll go through the renewal process. However, if during the 2 years your income or your assets change, you let your social worker know, your adoption social worker, and there will be a reassessment. For example, if you receive $1 million inheritance, it's really important that you let your social worker know that your assets have changed. Now, if you win the lottery, it's advisable to also, substantively winning the lottery, let your social worker know as well. But again, the premise of the program is to support families who adopt children who have extraordinary needs and to ensure that the family can manage. Talk to your resource social worker if you're interested in adoption, and make sure that you have an opportunity to talk to the adoption social worker. Now, you might want to ensure that you understand fully the eligibility criteria, let them know about your income and assets. You might want to ask questions about, because when you're a foster parent, you have a resources social worker. The funding is specific to the child's needs. You have a service contract. If you're a leveled foster parent, your funding's very different. So when you're moving to PAA, it's really important that you have those conversations with the social worker, because we don't provide the same, we don't do level, it's not a level program, it's different than fostering. So I think it's critical that you take the time, make sure that you have all your questions are answered, so you're clear about the differences. Why do I do this work? Every child, every adolescent, every human being needs to have a place that they can call home. And we all do. Every one of us, whether maybe it's not in your pocket today, but if you go to your parents' house or the person who raised you, you know how to get into the home. And you're always welcome at that table, even when they're mad at you or you're mad at them. When there's a crisis and you're halfway around the world, who do you call? What do you do? Every child in care, every adolescent in care needs that same feeling of emotional safety, well-being, and to be able to grow up knowing that there is somebody who is there that they can depend on 24/7, and it's not a social worker. That's why.